Well, what's going on, guys? My name is Paul Salamanca, aka Don Pablo's Life. I am the
Sure.
CEO of Preferred Roofing Supply. I've been in business for 11 years now. I started this business back in 2013. My family comes from El Salvador. I'm a first generation American, first generation business owner, first generation to have money to develop wealth. So I'm breaking a lot of firsts. I'm the first to a lot of things. So I'm excited to be here and share a
That's
lot of
awesome,
knowledge.
bro. That's big. That's big.
Hmm.
So tell us, so obviously coming from first generation, first to kind of like you mentioned, dude, how is it to be the first one to finally make it out? Like finally take your family to whole different levels. Talk to us
To
about that thing.
to be the first one is it's a cool feeling, but there's also a lot of pressure because every day, I'm trying not to go back to the days where we
Yes,
started.
sir.
So every day I'm thinking about how can I get farther away from the day, where we come
Right,
from.
right, right.
And it's been a lot of lessons just because I never had a mentor. I could never call my dad, "Hey, Pop, I got this tax bill. What do you do in this situation?" Or, "Hey, mom, I have a question about this. What's the EIN number, mom? What's a tax ID, mom? W-2 employee." I never had that connection with my parents per se. But what I can tell you guys is, because I know a lot of you out there are coming from the same boat that I was in, is what you can do is reverse learning. So I did a lot of reverse learning. For example, reverse learning is my parents divorced. I knew that one day I was gonna marry and I wasn't gonna divorce.
Wow.
Another thing, my parents had bad credit. I knew that okay, I gotta have good credit because they have bad credit. So your parents, my parents are good parents, excellent parents, good morals, raised me well. But I learned a lot of things of what to do differently so I can be different. And the result was a different outcome. I started getting credit cards when I was 18, and I knew that I had to take care of my credit. My cousins were asking me to borrow my credit. I knew that I couldn't let them borrow my credit because those
That's
are
big.
mistakes that my parents did. Oh, let your uncle borrow the credit to get that car, then uncle wouldn't pay the car off. So there's a lot of things where sometimes we think that we can't learn anything from our parents because of the situations they're in, but we can do a lot of reverse learning.
Yeah, that's a great story. And just so you guys know, like me and Paul talking, a lot of his stuff that he's gonna share, like I don't even know. Like that's what's great about this. I feel like, it's great to collab with people because guys, just so you know, every one of us have their story, right? You Paul have his story, I have my own story. Everybody from us have their own story, and the one thing that is common is everybody's starting from something. It's not like everybody is like a millionaire or billionaire in one day, right? There's a
Hmm.
journeys that everybody's going through. So so, Paul, talk to us about what is like before we go into like the details and stuff like that. Like, why you? Like, why? Like, what was the one thing that you like? I want to change my family for life. Like, why you?
Um, I think I was always different. I look at pictures when I was, 10, 12 years old. My parents dressed a certain way. I dressed differently. I always
Yes,
stood
sir.
out. I always
I
knew
see you, bro.
there was more to life than what we were knowing, and I was exposed to it. So I think a big thing is exposure. Like I saw how the rich lived. I saw the nice cars. I saw the possibilities.
Nice,
So I feel like sometimes a lot of us don't know what's out there because we're not exposed to it. For instance, if
nice.
you hate traveling, probably you never traveled. So maybe that's why you hate traveling because you're not exposed to it. But once you travel, you're like, man, I fucking love traveling. So I was around a rich uncle. I had a rich uncle who had a business, and I was like, man, one day I want to be like that guy. I'm going to run my own business. I want to help my employees. I'm going to treat them well. I'm going to do this and that. So I was inspired to become a better person. I was like, Mom, one day I'm going to take care of you. There's been a lot of times where, you know, for example, that rich uncle. One thing that I remember clearly when I was younger, my mom bought me a Ralph Lauren polo. A
Okay.
lot of us Latinos would wear Beverly Hills polos back in the day because that's what they sold at Ross or Burlington Coat Factory. One time my mom got me the real stuff from Macy's, and I was wearing it. My uncle goes, "Yo, no wonder you don't have money. You're buying your son designer clothes. You don't. He doesn't deserve to wear that in front of me."
Wow.
So how do you think that made me feel? I was like, man, one day I want to prove this guy wrong. I want to prove everyone wrong. We're gonna be. Don't worry, mom. Thank you for getting me this shirt. We're gonna make it out of this. And to this day, thank God, God has blessed me, and I've been able to do a lot of amazing things for my family, my
That
employees, and the people
that's
around me.
That's awesome, man. Yo, when you saying that, like that one day, you know, like one day I'll be that dude. That's resonating with me like 100%. Like, dude, I'm always like, one day I'm gonna have this thing, and one day, you know, I'm always talking to people and I'm sharing with them that, you know, me and you, when we met, obviously we want to grow. So we like, guys, like I'm always telling you, like, it's so important to surround yourself with people that have bigger stuff. Like just like Paul mentioned, like once you go and you see what's the possibility, you're like, shit, I can do it. You know what I mean? Like if somebody else did it, it might as well be me. So that's huge, man. I definitely resonate with you. Like
Yeah,
I feel you 100% on this one. Like this one is big.
as a kid too, you know, my cousins, like I was what, 5 years old collecting basketball cards, and then they would tell me, "Hey, keep these cards safe. One day they're going to be worth thousands." And to this day, I have that book of cards because my idea was that these book of cards were going to get us out of poverty. You know, so I always
Wow.
had that mentality to, like, you know, one day flip. Or Pokemon cards. I still had all my Pokemons intact, my Pokemon magazines, because one day I was going to flip it and sell it to get out of poverty. But that was me as a kid thinking that a couple thousand was going to be money, you know. But I always
Yeah.
had something was in me that I knew I had to make it. I knew I had to make it, you know. So I
What
think
would
God plays a big part, you know,
for
because
sure.
you know you know, it's people that are successful are there at the right time in the right place, and God puts you there at the right time in the right place for the right
100%.
opportunity. We can't
100%.
decide the opportunity. We can't decide the right time, but God decides all this.
By the way, before we go to the next, I like how you always say, you know, your relationship with God and everything. Like I recently decided to do a lot of different stuff, like that I didn't done before, like give to charity and you know, connect more to God and like you know, kind of like just you know have that fear and you know always do the right thing and help people and stuff like that. Like talk to us about how important it is your relationship to God. Like what is it like makes you kind of do different than other people, I guess.
Um, so yeah, God, for example, now at this point in my life, I feel like God has blessed me so much that it's my job now to bless others, you know. So that's
Nice.
why I'm doing this content, this thing on mindset. And you know, I'm not a perfect guy. I'm not a, you know, perfect Christian that you can be like, oh, that guy's the perfect role model. I'm not. But every time I'm trying to work towards that goal, you know.
Yep.
I want to get rich, but I also want to make it a heaven.
Let's go.
So, you know, there's a lot of things that I have to do differently than others. You know, people make it normal to get divorces. Shit, I can't get divorced because I'm married through the church. You know, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a promise I made to God and my wife.
Yep.
So it's a lot of things that, you know, Christian men do differently than people that are just consumed by the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's dive a little bit to, I guess, your journey. Obviously started with nothing, no help, no money, like nothing. Uh, what was like kind of like your biggest start? Well, which point in your life you're like shit, I got my first win. Like I've done something.
It took some time, you know, for example.
Because a lot of us, and before you go to the answer, a lot of us during the day to day, like I know even with me, sometimes you're like damn, I work so hard and I do so much stuff. Like when I'm getting rewarded for everything, like when is that reward come? Like talk to us about your struggles and stuff like that, and when you're like, all right, like I see some like tunnel and I see some lights in the end, you know?
So I think one of, you know, something that helped me a lot was, okay, one, I started young. I had nothing to lose and I had a lot to prove.
Yep.
Two, I set low expectations. You know, all I wanted to do was make 80,000 a year. That's all I wanted to do. Because that me having a college degree, I have a college degree, by the way, from Georgia State University in
Nice,
marketing.
nice, nice.
All my buddies were making 80,000 a year. Give me 1 second.
All good.
Okay, can I hear you? There you go. I can hear you. 80,000 a year, and that's all I wanted to do. You know, so I had low expectations. So I knew I had to work hard to get there, you know, but I feel like sometimes we set expectations too high. Tomorrow, I'm gonna start this business. I'm gonna sell $6,000. Listen, that's not reality, man.
Right.
Everything takes fucking time.
I
And the
agree.
winners win because they don't quit. You know, I never quit. Now I'm winning. Like it took time. Like it didn't happen year one, year two, year three, year four. You know what I mean? By year five, all right, now I have money to buy a house because all the money before was reinvesting, paying myself low. You know, shopping at regular Burlington and
Yes,
TJ Maxx like I
sir.
always done. You know, but the reality is sometimes we set expectations too high and we want shit now. That's what's
What would you say? Can you hear me now?
yeah,
Can you
I
hear me right?
had a yeah, I had a call.
Yeah, all good. What would you say to the people that go through that and it's been like a year, 2 year, and they're like, damn, like I don't see the end. Like I don't see something is working here. Should they keep doing what they're doing, or should they switch to try
Well,
to find like new stuff to
it
do?
depends, you know. After year one, you sit down and you look at your numbers. You're like, all right, well, I'm still selling $0. Maybe you should look at something else because not every idea is a good idea.
Mm,
You know, so maybe you have
it's
to
big.
pivot. But as a businessman, you know if it's making sense. If you're like, all right, this is picking up, I'm getting more customers, I'm doing this differently, I'm growing. You can tell if you're growing, you know, but if you're not progressing, you know, sometimes not some business ideas are not for you, you know, but you have to know if you're gonna know if you're progressing, you know. But if you're progressing day by day in by day out, then I wouldn't quit because one day you're gonna make it.
Yep.
But let's say you're not year one, you do $500. Year two, you do $500. You got to question and analyze. Okay, what can I do differently next year? And if you do it differently and you're still getting $500, maybe it's not a good business model.
Nice.
Maybe you're not investing enough in funding. Maybe you're not networking enough. There's a lot of different strategies, but at the end of the day, any business can pop off, guys. If you have the right strategy, the right mindset, the right people in place, any business can pop off.
I agree, and I want to kind of collaborate on that and say that you mentioned the word networking, man. This word is so big to me. Like I feel like everything I was able to accomplish to this day is because of that word, like networking, dude. Like 4 years ago, I remember the first day I went to my job and I was like starting to call people and I'm looking around. I remember I drove literally from my office back home and I see all these cars and yachts and all that, and I'm like there is so much money. Like, how can I be, or at least know those people, right? Like how can I be part of them? And I'm like, just find the people that doing it, just find. And then, dude, I remember it. I went and obviously Grant Cardone and all those people that we met through them as well. And guys, this is the results. Like me and Paul, we literally met at the networking event, and look, now we're collaborating, do stuff together. So talk to us about how networking been a huge role in your career and your kind of journey, like people.
So most recently, I started going out of my comfort zone, and can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
And leaving my home per se, because like I told you guys, it's important to be exposed to other things. You know, I run a business a certain way, but when I go to Patrick Bay David, he runs it a different way. So I'm over here listening to what he says, learning from him, and then I meet people like Tom. Then I talk to Tom, and I learn something from Tom, and I'm learning something from this guy. But the idea is, you know, when you learn from somebody, they also want to learn from you. So you have to be valuable. So that's how networking works. You know, it's a win-win for both of you. You collab, you have that chemistry going. But in the beginning days, you know, your network is important because you got to establish relationship with vendors, manufacturers, distribution companies, clients. So that's what people mean by your network. You know, all my clients are in my network and I have to talk to them,
Yeah,
develop a relationship. Then I got to go to the vendor and be like, can you help me with this price? And I got to be their friend. Then I got to go over here. Everything is a relationship. So the quicker you guys get good at relationships, the quicker you're going to
that's
succeed.
big. Like if I were you guys, I'll be like literally taking notes because like like Paul is already well off. So like this is big, guys. I'm telling you, like my thing, dude. When I started, I'm like, I'm gonna learn from everybody. Like it doesn't matter what you are, who you are, as long as you're doing something that I don't have, or maybe not yet. There's something I need to learn. And
Hmm.
by the way, talk to us about how important it is that you never know also who you're talking to. You're probably talking to a lot of people inside your business, outside of your business, and you're like, man, maybe this guy doesn't can like cannot help me right now. But how important it is to really like respect everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I tell that to my front desk staff every time, you know, just because somebody's wearing rags or is dirty, you can never judge a book by its cover
Right.
because, you know, for example, me back in the day, I would hand unload my shingles and I would tell the roofers, hey, can you help me unload the shingle? They would tell me no. They thought I was just a regular employee.
Wow.
Now to this day,
Wow.
they know that I was the owner, plot twist on them, and I still remember that they didn't want to help. You get it, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
never
that,
know who
that's
that
very,
person's gonna become and who they're gonna be. So you always got to treat people with respect. It's about foundations. My parents taught me to always be humble, respectful, and
that's
address everyone properly.
good
So
point, dude.
if it's all about
Yeah.
being a good human, and it's common sense. But then again, it's not, because a lot of people aren't doing that. A lot of people are judging if they're dirty, if they're not wearing designer, this and that. A lot of people are broke and they wear designer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like I like designer myself, and
Me
but
too,
I wear
man.
it because I feel good in it. That's my suit and tie. I like wearing. I like dressing nice. I like looking good.
That's big, man. I definitely agree with that. So so obviously we mentioned respect to everybody, big factor. Talk to us about um over the years, right? So you growing, obviously some might not work. You're growing again, something not work. Like how you deal with like failures. How big is like failures to your part? How do you deal with them? Like, dude, when I'm going to failures, like shit is tough sometimes. I'm like yo, like this is some real, tough time. But I'm like, all right, what do I need to do next? What is next? Like for me, when I'm going through a hard time, I'm like, what next? What is the next thing? What is the next big thing I can do? What am I missing? Talk to us about how you deal with that.
Yeah. So the other day I was talking to someone. They asked me if I liked winning. Of course, I said yes. But then they were like, "Or do you hate losing?" And I hate losing. I like winning, but I hate losing more than winning. So it's like
That's big,
losing
bro.
losing is just a part of life, though. So what matters is every time you lose or you fail is what you learn from it and how you pivot. I relate everything to sports. I used to be an athlete, so whenever you fail and you got to move this way now, or to move this way, but you can't stay at that point. Like you said, you learned a lesson. I have clients where I give them in-house credit and they fail to pay their balance off. So now I'm in a hole, $30,000,
Wow.
$40,000. These guys are scamming, robbing. But what can I do? I just got to follow protocol. I got my steps to collect and then keep it moving. I'm not going to go kill the man. I'm not going to go cry about it and close my doors. I got to keep moving and go to the next opportunity and create another opportunity, because if you stay there and sit and cry about your failures, you're just going to be a victim. So at the end of the day, we just got to learn from them, solve them, and create a protocol so next time it happens, because it's going to happen again, you know what to do and you follow those steps. Because a
That's
lot of problems in business happen. You're going to have the same 10 to 15 problems that happen all the time, so you're going
yeah,
to get used to the
yeah,
problems.
I agree. Dude, that's big. That's like I'm already know like dude, I even took that like make sure you always keep it up. There is for me just like you mentioned, like there is never losing. Actually,
Hmm.
there's if you think about it, you never lose as long as you try again. Like Granny is always talking to us about like, dude, if you can just keep going, and there's like you never fail basically, right? Like
Hmm.
even if you had the biggest failure, but the second day you wake up, you're like, all right, what else I can do? That's it. You keep on growing. So
It's a part
I
of
definitely agree with
life.
that. Yeah. So let me talk to you about, dude, I loved it. So I watched your story about like I think 3 days ago, and you were filming yourself with the tractor or something like
Mm.
that. And you wrote it down in the story like how important it is to when you run a business and you are the CEO, when you run the business, how important it is to know every single department and what exactly they do. Like, dude, that was big for me. I was like, that's crazy. So talk to us about it, bro.
So I think that's the benefit of starting a business and bootstrapping it per se. Bootstrapping means you self-funded, you did everything yourself. So a lot of times people start a business just because they have money, but they don't know how to do every position in the business. But when you start from nothing, like a lot of us out there, that is the best time. That is the best way to start a business, because you're literally going to do every position in that business and you're going to fill those positions up with people as you grow, but you know how to do everything. So the day tomorrow, you tell someone how to do it, you know how to guide them. If they tell you it takes an hour, you're like, no, no, it takes 30 minutes because I used to do that. I know how to
Yeah.
do it. And this is how you do it. So it's very important, you as a leader, to know all the positions. It's a
That,
better way to guide and lead. So it's very,
that's
it's a blessing to start a business and start from the bottom. Because when you
that's
come in
big,
with
bro.
money and you're just an investor and you do this, it's a different vibe.
Actually, if you're thinking about it, that's what usually happened to a lot of business owners that, kind of the business got gifted to them, or they got it all of a sudden. Brandon Dawson is always talking about it, how 97% of the businesses in America fail. Like if you just think about this, like statistics is insane.
Hmm.
Like only like what 3% or whatever,
Yeah.
like actually make it out. And so that's big. What you have just said, like if I were the audience, I will like I'm literally taking some notes as well. Like know all your position, like that's big. So talk to us about like you looking now after all those years that you worked. What is one thing, one regret that you were like, damn, I wish I would have done that.
Uh, in business or personal life?
Whatever you want, go with it. I'll say.
Um, honestly,
Even if
I
you
think
even if you like shit, everything I wanted I got. That is you.
you just one regret, you're saying?
Yeah, like something you like. You're looking back and like, nah, I should have done that, or I should have did this.
I think, I would have worked more on myself
Mm.
earlier on. I started working on myself when I hit my 30s just because I always been running so much, running my business, trying to succeed, trying to
Wow.
make it happen, trying to take care of my parents. But I really wasn't investing in my mental bank. I wasn't investing in my head. I wasn't listening to the podcast. I wasn't having listening to Grant. I feel like that's helped me a lot. I got better with fitness. I stopped drinking. I stopped doing a lot of dumb things that I was doing earlier. So it's been a real blessing. I would have started investing in myself a little earlier. We're our biggest investment. Your mind is your
Yes,
biggest
sir.
asset. So that's why I'm always talking about mindset, not so much business, because if you have a weak mind, you can't do shit.
Dude, I agree.
Your
I agree
your
with that.
your your level of success is all dependent on how much stress you can handle. A lot of people can't handle stress. You know what I mean? A lot of people aren't cut out to be like this.
They
You
just
reach you reach a certain level, you're like, oh man, this is too much, and you break down, and that's all you're gonna be. But if you keep tolerating stress, if you keep coping with stress, you're gonna keep getting bigger because the bigger you get, the more stress that comes.
that's
Pro-
big, dude. I even know for me, like, like I feel like and some and people might be disagree with me, but I feel like
Oh, yo, we got Albert. What up, Albert? Damn, Albert's big, bro. Sheesh. My
Albert,
boy,
hit me out one day. We'll get you on the live as well, man.
Albert, give me a live, bro.
Yeah, send us an invite, man, if you want. If um, so I was about to say, like, for me, sometimes even failure, dude, it's like failure or like a small shift. It's like, dude, it's like you're actually doing the right thing. Because in the end of the day, if it doesn't fail, right, it doesn't go big. And I don't know, I don't care like who you are, whatever you are. If somebody doesn't fail, dude, it means that they doesn't want it more. So that's big for me too. Dude, so recently I started to see you talked about the mental game and the and investing in yourself. Talked about it. How does like your routine, the gym, just give some time to yourself. Like how big it took factor in your life.
How big
Like
is what?
what are some changes that you saw before and after you started to really to invest time and invest like you going to the gym and working out and eat healthy, like all those stuff.
I mean, essentially, it all comes down to time because when you have too much free time, when you're bored, it's going to lead to your desires, and your desires are going to lead to your vices, and your vices are bad things. So I quit drinking 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. So
Wow.
when I quit that, it was a big shift. I moved. I cut out a lot of people in my life. I stopped partying. But what was the secret? I had to stay busy. I always had to stay
Mm,
busy because when I got bored, I wanted to drink. I wanted to go out to the club. I wanted to go to a party. I wanted to do this and that. But
yes,
now if I go
sir.
to a party, I'm there, say hi, and go out. I don't stay there to the end, till the lights come on, because that's the guy that used to be out there drinking and wasting time. But I think the key to all this is to stay busy and be productive. Now in my free time, what do? I work out, I read a book, I listen to a podcast, I do cold plunge, I go to church, I pray, I hang out with my kid. So
Yeah.
really, I hang out with my wife. Really, the key there is just always occupy your time because whenever you have free time, you're gonna do some bullshit. You're gonna just shop. You're gonna do something you're not supposed to because as humans, we naturally want to do the bad stuff. I want to eat McDonald's every day or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's all about being busy and being disciplined. Because you don't want to be busy doing parties and all
Yeah,
that other stuff
bullshit.
either. So yeah, you have to do things that are gonna move the needle forward.
So, dude, I'm looking at sometimes I look before you came on this Instagram. I look at your feed, man, and you're doing some great vacations, man.
Yeah.
Like, good for you. So, talk to us about. Uh, so I know a lot of people that comes to me, and I've tried that too. I've been traveling like a lot. Like there was one time I was like literally almost traveling like one time a month, which was crazy. But talk to us about like how important it is to reward ourselves, like to travel, reward, buy nice stuff. I saw you got the Lambo right now recently. Like, dude, I feel like that's big for me. When I'm doing stuff that I like and I'm like, all right, I hit my goal, I'm buying stuff, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So talk
Um,
to the audience about that.
so for me, my wife is my business partner, so we're always talking about business. So we have to do things that are gonna, keep us together and sane where we don't talk as much about business. But even though we're in Hawaii, Japan, wherever, we're still on our phones, and every employee of mine knows that I'm always available and I'm always on
Wow.
the phone. My customers send me orders, I'm always available for them. So no matter where I'm at, I'm always working
Yeah,
because
that's huge.
that's the one thing people don't realize when you're the owner, you always have to work. It's like having a baby. If I can't just tell my son, yo, I'm not gonna be your dad today. No, every day you have to cater to the business, to your customers, to your employees. So it's hard sometimes when we travel because of the time differences, but we make it happen. But what I want to go back to the how important it is. It's important to travel for us in our relationship because we create memories, and I feel
Yeah.
like when you have a lot of memories with someone else that's special to you, your bond becomes stronger. So we travel a lot now because one, we've been busting our asses off for years. It's not like year two, year
Yeah,
three. We've
yeah.
been in business 11 years now, and we're in partners for 11 years. So we travel to get away, to create these memories, to enjoy our kid, and it's just been an awesome experience.
Dude, that's awesome, bro. So I'm sure a lot of in the audience are maybe in your age, maybe in their 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, right? Um, and I want to know, dude, like how big is it like to have a partner? Like you mentioned, relationship, family, good environment. Like, dude, how important it is for you?
A
Like
par-
you see the results, like a partner, like somebody that you like. The fact that your wife is your business partner, like, dude, that's awesome, right? A lot of time we're trying to find like different partners and stuff like that. Like for me, in my life, I want to also have somebody that I want to build like huge stuff with Sarah or whatever. So talk to us about that. Like how beneficial is that for you?
it's very beneficial just because, man, if I was working the way I am now and she wasn't in the business, she would always be complaining like, "Why aren't you home? You work so much. Isn't this enough?
Yeah,
Why do you want more? Stop working. We're okay like this." La la la. All this
yeah.
BS that I wouldn't want to hear. But me and her are aligned. We're on the same mission, and we know we got shit to handle it and things to accomplish. So there's no problem talking about work. There's no problem handling business when we have to do. There's no problem replying to a text message late at night, because we understand the demands of running a business at this level. So I think if you already have a business and you're gonna look at somebody potentially after you date them for a year, you go back and analyze them. Is my life better now with them or is it worse?
Mm.
And that's when you really have to be like, all right, well, when I started with this girl or this guy, you know, I was less stressed and now I'm way more stressed and now my business is suffering. Then why would I be with them? You get it? But if you see them after a year, you're like, damn, like I'm selling double. I feel energized. I feel good. Then that's the right person
That
for you. But it's hard. But me and her is different because we started from nothing. We had nothing together. We were broke. We were both hungry. We were both savages. We were both smart. We were both alphas, man, and we're an unstoppable force.
I think it's so much like we live close to Miami, bro. Once you're in Miami, like this thing is it's crazy over there. But how important it is to find somebody, a couple, like your best partner and start everything like literally from the ground, like from the zero together, rather than just be a successful business and get approached by all these girls and and then what? You know, like to me, when I hear that you kind of started it all over from the beginning with her, like that's big, dude.
Yeah, and that's a secret. I mean, yeah, imagine now if I had all this money, of course the women will flock. I mean, it's inevitable because people like the lifestyle, the everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not the type of those are temporary things I feel
Mm,
like, it's not there's no foundation. So I think it's very important to start early in your life before all the success to find who's really there for you, you know?
nice.
So it's hard to find your
It's
partner.
hard,
Not
man.
everyone's blessed. Not everyone's blessed.
I
There's a lot of
agree.
vultures out there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people just trying to get the best out of you. But I mean, you just got to analyze it and see, is this moving me forward or is it holding me back? Because sometimes a lot of people just settle and they're like, all right, well, this is my person. I love them, but maybe they're not helping you move forward and you don't want to be stuck with them for life because that's a commitment too.
What what are some dude, that's big, dude. I love it, just so you know. What are some things, and we'll talk about this thing, and then we'll do Q&A for the audience to ask their questions as well. Uh, like if you're looking at your life back, dude, but what is like, what is the one thing you're like, not that you wanted to change, but more like how you determine what's next for you. Like today, you achieved a lot of stuff, and
Yeah,
how you always kind of okay, I want this now and that now, and you like keep motivating yourself. And then we'll
man,
do Q&A.
that's if you look at a lot of successful people, or if anybody that's starting a business, if you start a business, man, you're never gonna quit because this shit is addicting. You
Yeah,
get
right.
you get hooked. It's a game, man. It's a game,
Yeah.
and you just want to keep winning, and especially if you have that personality, that thing in you where you always want to keep doing better. You always want to compete versus yourself, and you always want to compete versus someone else. It's kind of hard to quit, And now I
Yeah.
have a son, so now I'm like, well, I'm fine. Is he gonna be fine? All right, well, he's
Uh-huh.
fine. Now his son's gonna be, now his kids are gonna be fine.
Nice.
And it's just a different level, man. You just want to keep going, and I don't know when enough is. So right now I just said, hey, enough is gonna be $1 billion, and at least I know that I'm gonna die trying to reach $1 billion.
Let's
And if I
go.
reach it, I reach it. And if I don't, I'm gonna keep trying until I die. You know what I mean?
Dude,
So the
that's
Lord
big.
knows.
I love it, man.
You got you
So,
got to you got to set your goal so big, that your problems pale. So why would I have a small goal? Man, a Lamborghini isn't a small-minded goal. That's really not shit. I want a bigger things than that. That's just something cool to have right now, knock off my checklist. But really, when I'm 50 years old, I'm not gonna be riding no Lamborghini.
yeah,
I'm gonna have
right.
bigger and better things, money, move differently.
Dude, that's awesome, bro. Like even for me, I feel like there's always something, and it's not always just material things, but it's
It's
more
not.
like maybe like charity, maybe to give to your girlfriend, maybe to give to your family, maybe just for you. Like there is always something,
Yeah, and
and yeah, go
and
ahead.
doing giving back's a big thing. Like I told you, we have a scholarship. Me and my wife give it to first generation Latinos who attend Georgia
Nice.
State, who want to be entrepreneurs. We give back. Last year, we gave out the whole freshman class at Meadow Creek, a school down the street from my business, school
Mm,
supplies. We do a lot of different things. You know what I mean? I go speak at schools. I pay for their lunch debts. Like, I'm always trying to do something different every year. So now we're gonna make a foundation and actually do it bigger and better.
no, let's go.